Hi, welcome to Unit 7, Day 1. This is Part 1, What is Stoichiometry and what are mole ratios? So before we get into Unit 7, let's recap some of the things that we've covered so far in the past couple of units. In Unit 5 on chemical reactions, we learned about types of chemical reaction, what happens during a chemical reaction, how to balance chemical reaction equations, and a whole lot more. In Unit 6 on moles, we learned that a mole is equal to 6.02 times 10 to the 23 things. It's the central unit of measure for amounts, as we see in the mole map. We also learned how to do one-step and two-step mole conversion. And we learned the coefficients in balanced chemical equations are molar coefficients. And we also learned other things as well. So we've actually learned quite a lot in the past couple of units. So let's give ourselves a virtual high five for that. But what's next? Next, in Unit 7, we're going to learn something called stoichiometry. And the cool thing about stoichiometry is the skills that you've learned in the past couple of units, you're going to be applying it here. So stoichiometry is a strange word. So what exactly is stoichiometry? A quick Google search will result in this definition. So take a moment to read that definition. I also went online to Kim Libre Text, which is an online textbook, to look up a definition of stoichiometry. Take a moment to read that definition. So if you're like me after reading those definitions, you may be thinking, wait, what? What is stoichiometry? So let's talk about stoichiometry in lay terms, at least as it's going to apply in this chemistry course. And in most chemistry courses, this is what stoichiometry entails. It essentially involves using mole ratios to convert from the amount of one thing, which is your given, to the amount of something different, which is your find. So the key thing here are mole ratios, and what you're starting off with and what you're ending up with, your given and find, have to be different substances. So let's talk about mole ratios. Mole ratios, there are two types that we use in stoichiometry. The first type are the coefficients in a balanced chemical equation. And we've already talked about that, that in a balanced chemical equation, those coefficients can be thought of as molar coefficients. So you can think of, for example, in this reaction, you're reacting 1 mole of lead nitrate with 2 moles of potassium iodide to produce 1 mole of lead iodide and 2 moles of potassium nitrate. The other type of mole ratio are subscripts in a chemical formula. So if you take a molecule like water, H2O, that little 2 there and that invisible 1 tells you the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen atoms. And those subscripts, the little numbers are called subscripts, can be used as our mole ratios. So, and there are two ways that we can use them. If we are comparing the ratio of an atom to the entire molecule, then we would use the subscript and 1 mole of the molecule. So for example, in 1 mole of water, there are 2 moles of hydrogen atoms. So if you had a mole of water and you wanted to know how many moles of hydrogen atoms you would have, you would look at the subscript there. The other way is by comparing between the 2 atoms of a molecule. So water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, and the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen according to the chemical formula is 2 to 1. You have 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So you can think of it as saying you have 2 moles of hydrogen and 1 mole of oxygen. Now, the mole ratios are important because they become, in a stoichiometry problem, our conversion factor. Now remember, conversion factors, they show the relationship between 2 equivalent values. And we can express them as equations and also as fractions, particularly when we're solving dimensional analysis. Conversion factors are expressed as fractions. So let's look at some examples. Let's first look at an example where we're getting the mole ratios from the coefficients in a balanced chemical equation. Let's say we wanted to convert from moles of lead nitrate, PbNO3, to moles of potassium iodide. The conversion factor in that case would be 1 mole of lead nitrate is equal to 2 moles of potassium iodide. So how did I get that? Well, first of all, the numbers come straight from the coefficients. So what I would do is I would go to my chemical equation, oops, and I would look at the coefficients in front of lead nitrate and potassium iodide. So the coefficient in front of lead nitrate is 1, the coefficient in front of potassium iodide is 2, and so 1 mole of lead nitrate is equal to 2 moles of potassium iodide. So these numbers, once again, just come from the coefficients. And I set them, I make those coefficients into moles, and I set the two values equal to each other. Similarly, if I wanted to convert from moles of lead nitrate to lead iodide, I would again go to my balanced chemical equation. I'll find lead nitrate and lead iodide in the balanced chemical equation, and then those coefficients I would use in my conversion factor. Okay, so let's take a look at this example here. Which of the following mole ratio conversion factors could be used to convert from moles of H2 to moles of H2O? Select all that apply. All right, so I'm trying to convert from moles of H2 to moles of H2O. So again, I'm going to go to my balanced chemical equation. Since this is involving a chemical reaction, I find H2, which is my given, and I find H2O, which is my find. And I use the coefficients in front of these chemicals to determine my mole ratio. So here I see I have 2 moles of H2, and that's going to be set equal to 2 moles of H2O. So choice A would work. 2 moles of H2 is equal to 2 moles of H2O. But also choice B works as well. And the reason why choice B works as well, because essentially what you can do is you can simplify this conversion factor. If 2 moles of H2 is equal to 2 moles of H2O, if they're equivalent, it's a 2 to 2 ratio. That's the same thing as saying a 1 to 1 ratio. So we can just simplify the numbers into 1 mole of H2 is equal to 1 mole of H2O. Now, in terms of your math, if you were using, you could use either conversion factor if you were trying to solve a problem that involved this. Either one would work, but oftentimes people do simplify them. All right, now it's your turn to try that in the CFU. So which of the following mole ratio conversion factors could be used to convert from moles of H2O to moles of O2? Pause the video now, and when you press play again, the answer will be revealed. All right, the answer is choice C. So again, you would find H2O, you're given, you would find your find, and use the coefficients in front of these molecules to write your conversion factor. And just a quick note, there's an invisible 1. If there's no number written for the conversion factor, remember that's an invisible 1. So there's an invisible 1 in front of O2. Okay, now let's get into examples where we're looking at subscripts. So we looked at examples where we're getting our mole ratios from coefficients in balanced chemical equations. We're now going to look at where we're getting them from subscripts in a chemical formula. So here we have our water molecule. And remember, those subscripts there tell you the ratios of atoms in the molecule. So let's say we wanted to convert from moles of hydrogen to moles of oxygen. The conversion factor in this case would be 2 moles of H is equal to 1 mole of oxygen. And again, we just get that strictly from the subscripts because it's a 2 to 1 ratio. For every 2 hydrogen atoms, you have 1 oxygen atom. And we get that information from the subscript. Remember, there's no 1 written there, so that's an invisible 1. What if we wanted to convert instead from moles of water, so the entire molecule, to moles of hydrogen? So in that case, for 1 mole of water, there are 2 moles of hydrogen. And when you're dealing with a molecule and comparing it to the atoms within that molecule, you always set the molecule equal to 1 mole because that's just the simplest thing to do. If you have 1 mole of water, then you know you have 2 moles of hydrogen. Likewise, if you have 1 mole of water, you would have 1 mole of oxygen because in a water molecule, there's 1 oxygen for each water molecule. All right, let's see if we can try and do that for these problems here. So we're going to write conversion factors for problems involving caffeine, C8H10N4O2. Now, before we write the conversion factor for each of these conversions, so from moles of C to moles of nitrogen, for example, I want us to just sort of break down the 2 types of problems that we have here. The first type, the first three, involves converting from moles of atoms within a molecule. So for these, we're just going to use the subscripts, right? So for moles of carbon to moles of nitrogen, moles of hydrogen, moles of oxygen, etc., we just use the subscripts because these are all atoms. But in the last two examples, they involve the entire molecule. You notice you have moles of caffeine in both of those problems. So in those problems, the molecule itself will be set equal to 1 mole, and then for the atom, you use the subscript. So let's take a look at what that will look like. For moles of carbon to moles of nitrogen, I find carbon in my chemical formula and I find nitrogen. The subscript for carbon is 8. The subscript for nitrogen is 4. So that means 8 moles of carbon is equal to 4 moles of nitrogen. And that's what I wrote here. I also simplified it because you can simplify these numbers. An 8 to 4 ratio is the same as a 2 to 1 ratio. All right, same thing for hydrogen and oxygen. So if I'm converting from hydrogen to oxygen, I will find hydrogen. And I'll look at the subscript, it's 10, so that's 10 moles of hydrogen. And I'll look at oxygen, the subscript is 2, so that's 2 moles of oxygen, so it's 10 to 2, which simplifies to 5 to 1. And then the same thing I would do for carbon and oxygen, 8 moles of carbon, 2 moles of oxygen using their subscripts. And again, that one can be simplified to 4 to 1. All right, so for caffeine and oxygen, remember the molecule is set equal to 1 mole, so I have 1 mole of caffeine, and then I would use the subscript 2 moles of oxygen. So if you have 1 mole of caffeine, you're going to have 2 moles of oxygen in that sample. Likewise, if you're converting from moles of nitrogen to moles of caffeine, once again, the molecule will be set equal to 1 mole, so there'll be 1 mole of the entire caffeine molecule, but I would use the subscripts for the atom, because in 1 mole of caffeine, there are 4 moles of nitrogen. All right, now it's your turn with this TFU. I want you to write the mole ratio for the following conversion factor for a sodium sulfate. So pause the video now. When you press play again, the answer will be revealed. All right, so here are your answers for this DFU. For the first two, you're just dealing with atoms, so you would use just the subscripts that you see in the chemical formula. So for sulfur to oxygen, there's 1 sulfur, there's an invisible one there, and 4 oxygen, so it's a 1 to 4. 1 mole of sulfur is equal to 4 mole of oxygen. For sodium to oxygen, there's 2 sodiums and 4 oxygens, so 2 moles of sodium is equal to 4 moles of oxygen, which simplifies to 1 to 2. And then finally, for sodium versus the entire molecule, sodium sulfate, you have 2 moles of sodium for 1 mole of sodium sulfate. All right, that is it for this video. In part 2, we're going to preview how to solve these stoichiometry problems.